Order. Do we have the court reporter? Yes.
Just joined, yeah.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
Peter too is in.
Excellent. Now look at that. That's going to be right on time. Just want to make sure the court reporter is comfortable and in. Given it's 2:00 and I want to start, I just want verification though from the court reporter that you are on and ready.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was.
That's
I thought I was
okay.
on
Just
here.
making sure since it's 2:00, we're going to go ahead and start since you are ready and my fellow commissioners are here. Like to welcome everyone. This is the hearing and action portion of the Planning Commission meeting for January 23rd, 2024. Hearing means that cases are presented for action by the Planning Commission. During the hearing portion of the Planning Commission meeting, we will take public testimony with instructions to be given after each item is heard. Welcome to our applicant presenters. A reminder to clearly describe which slide you are presenting to assist those that are participating via audio. I'm going to do roll call of commissioners. And roll call, we'll start with Commissioner Blackwell.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Burton Falk. Present. Commissioner Dick.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Gammy will be joining us later. Commissioner O'Neill.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Ruiz may join us later as well. Commissioner Cantanilla.
Present.
All right, I saw you there, Commissioner Wu.
Present.
Thank you so much. Well, fantastic. Now I'm going to go through and read the agenda for today. And the agenda for today is as follows. Agenda item A will be approval of minutes. Agenda item B is correspondence. Agenda item C is plan of lots. Agenda item D is hearing and action. And then agenda item E is the director's report. Commissioners, we will go through back to the top of the agenda for agenda item A. That is approval of minutes for January 9, 2024. Are there any edits or is there a motion from the floor to approve?
So
Commissioner
moved.
Dick,
So moved.
move. A second. Commissioner, a second.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Cantanilla. We'll do roll call. Commissioner Blackwell.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Burton Falk. Aye. Commissioner Dick.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Neill.
Abstain.
Thank you, Commissioner Cantanilla.
Aye.
Thank you, and Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
All right, motion passes, so it carries. We'll move on to agenda item B, which is correspondence. For today, we have no correspondence, as noted for January 23rd, 2024. Agenda item C, moving on to plan of lots. We have one item under plan of lots. That is item number 1, which is DCP-lot-01706 Butler Street and McCandless Avenue. That is a major consolidation in the Upper Lawrenceville neighborhood. Presenting that here for us this afternoon is Mr. Shepke.
Thank you. Can we bring up the plan? I'm just waiting for someone to bring up the plan. Thank you. We are reviewing the consolidation of two parcels located at 5301 Butler Street into one parcel. Proposed lot would have frontage on 54th Street, McCandless Avenue, and Butler Street, and would be 81,335 square feet in area. A two-story structure is located on the subject property, and staff's recommended motion is to preliminarily approve the consolidation and schedule final review on February 6th, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shepke. This is a preliminary approval. Do we have anyone from the public that has a hand raised regarding this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you so very much. Commissioners, do we have a motion for a preliminary approval?
So moved.
Thank you. We'll take Commissioner Dick for a move, a second from Commissioner O'Neill. Commissioner Blackwell?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Burton Falk? Aye. Commissioner Dick?
Aye.
Commissioner O'Neill?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Cantania?
Aye.
Thank you. And Commissioner Wu?
Aye.
All right, motion passes, and we will move on to, thank you, Mr. Shepke. We will move on to agenda item D, which is hearing and action. We have two items under hearing and action today, and they are as follows. Agenda item number 1 is DCP-ZDR-2023-10458 at 444 Liberty Avenue. This is install high wall signage in the Central Business District. Agenda item number 2 under hearing and action is DCP-ZDR-2023-07553 at 500 Liberty Avenue. That is interior and exterior renovations to convert vacant structure into bank in the Central Business District. Moving back up to agenda item number 1 is DCP-ZDR-2023-10458 at 444 Liberty Avenue. Again, it's an install the high wall signage in the Central Business District. Presenting that here this afternoon is Mr. Breaker.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Could we have a quick sound check with our applicant?
It's Bill Colano checking in.
Great,
And
thank you.
Mr. Fraker, before you proceed, I'll be recusing from this application.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, Commissioners. This is Project Development Plan Application DCP-ZDR 2023-10458, filed by Colano Design on behalf of Hertz Gateway Citizens Center, Gateway Center LP, the property owners for the installation of 2 high wall signs for Citizens Bank. Per section 919.03.m.7 of the zoning code, signs over 40 feet above grade in the GT district require a review by the Planning Commission. The proposed signs will be 268 feet above grade at the top of the easterly and westerly facing facades. Signs above 40 feet above grade must not exceed a face area of 40 square feet or 2% of the exposed facade area, whichever is larger. The requirement would allow for a sign up to 1,568 square feet. The proposed signs are each 421 square feet. The applicant has provided a written agreement to not exceed a luminance of 2,500 nits during daylight hours and a luminance of 250 nits at all other times. A copy of the agreement is attached per the code requirement. A development activities meeting was held with the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership on December 14th, 2023. A copy of that report is also attached. There were no design review comments for the proposal and no zoning board of adjustment requests for the proposal. The recommended motion is that the Planning Commission of the City of Pittsburgh approves the project development plan DCP ZDR 2023-10458, based on the application filed by Colano Design, with the following condition. The final construction plans, including site plans and elevations, shall be reviewed and approved by the zoning administrator prior to issuing the record of zoning approval. And with that, I'll turn it over to the applicant for the presentation.
Thank you. It's Bill Colano here on behalf of citizens. And you may recognize this building, 444 Liberty Avenue, also known as Gateway 4. Gateway Health was the former anchor tenant, and you can see their sign on the upper right-hand corner of the building. And the new anchor tenant is Citizens, and their sign will be in the same place using the same structure as the Gateway Health sign. We can proceed. A little bit of housekeeping. We're in the zoning district GT-D, and the building is outlined in red. It's facing Liberty Avenue and the Point, which is in green, to the west, and to the east, we can see the square for Mellon Square in the site plan. Next. We are required to show you the signs on the building. So we have, again, one facing west, one facing east, represented by the red bars on the building diagram. Next. This is a diagram showing, we'll call it green light technology. And as if we were standing in front of the sign and shining a green flashlight outward, we can see a light on everywhere back that is able to see the sign. And within our letter height, the red circle shows that cone of vision, that circumference of people that can see that face. Next. And this is, again, using that same very cool technology, and wherever there's a green light, those people can see the sign back, and you can also see the red demarcation for maximum readability of the letter height shown on the diagram. Next. This is looking in the other direction, so the east-facing sign is mostly seen by downtown buildings, and the green surfaces are everybody that can see back at the sign. And again, you can see a red line to the limit of the 8-foot 6-inch letter height. Next. And if we were to take away the green light and just look outward, this is what we would see west facing. All of those people can see back at the sign, and east facing is the bottom diagram. Next. These are a couple of viewing angles, and you have to look for the red box in each of these photographs. And these are key places that we want to be able to see the sign from. Next. Again, a few more: Mount Washington, Liberty Avenue, Market Square, and Oxford. Next. The sign facade is about 78,000 square feet, and 2% yields a sign allowance of about 1,500 square feet. Our sign is about a third of that size. And the gateway sign is there just for comparison. It was just a little bit larger. And we have 8-foot 6-inch high letters and about a 50-foot wide sign. And just for information, that code is listed below, and we are well within the code. Next. And this is showing the west facing detail and how the sign will be attached to the framework. The sign will have color changing capability with no animation. It will have a white face with a green return, brand color green. Next. And the other east-facing sign, it's the exact same size, and its position is in the upper right-hand corner of that facade also. Next. Same mounting, same details for the letter fabrication. And it's showing us a before and the after on the right-hand side. Next. Here is a day shot of the sign west facing. Next shot. And this is what it would look like at night. It would default to the brand color most days, and on special occasions, it might be a featured color for a holiday. I think that might be the end. Let's just check. Oh, we have another one for the other side. This is facing Market Square. White in the day, green by night. That should be our last image. That's our presentation for today.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Colonna. Since that concludes your presentation, at this time, we open the floor. If there is any public testimony out there, are there any hands raised regarding this application?
There are no hands raised, Madam Chair.
Thank you so very much. Okay, at this time, commissioners, if there are questions or comments or a motion from the floor, please feel free. Is there a motion from the floor to
If there's no
approve?
comments, I'd like to move that we accept the presentation and project. So
Okay,
Second.
all right. So there's a move, a second, and I will do a roll call. That's Commissioner Blackwell.
aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Burton Falk. Aye, Commissioner Dick.
Aye.
On record, Commissioner O'Neill has recused. Commissioner Cantonia.
Aye.
All right, and Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
All right, so motion passes, carries. Thank you so very much, and you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we will move on to the next agenda item under agenda item D, hearing and action. Number 2 is as follows: DCP-ZDR-2023-07553 at 500 Liberty Avenue. This is interior and exterior renovations to convert vacant structure into a bank in the Central Business District. And presenting that here today is Ms. Meridian.
And before Ms. Meridian starts, I will be recusing on this application as well.
Thank you.
And thanks. Good afternoon, Commissioner. Could you please promote the applicant team? Okay. Let's have a quick sound check. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Miriam. Yes, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Do you have your team with you?
So it looks like Aaron Hogel is on. We also have Ryan Wodas and Jen Vinci. And if we could promote them, I think that should be all of our team today.
Josh is here as well, Laura.
Thank you.
Okay, let me go through the brief report. The project development plan application, DCP ZDR 2023-07553, is filed on behalf of the Huntington National Bank property owner to redevelop the former McDonald's building located at 500 Liberty Avenue for a bank and financial institution in the Golden Triangle District A. The proposed request is for interior and exterior renovation to convert a vacant building into a bank and financial institution as general. The proposed change of use meets the zoning code criteria per section 910.01.c.1 use regulation and section 911.02 use table. The proposal use classification is permitted by right in the GTA zoning district. The proposed change use does not meet the zoning code criteria per section 910.01.f.2 to allow a bank direct street access. Therefore, it must be pursue the dam meeting and ZBA hearing. The development activity meeting is held on September 14, 2023 by Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership. It's attached. The applicant requests for a variance from section 910.01.f.2 to allow a bank use with direct street access. It's currently approved on Thursday, December 28, 2023. It's attached. Design review staff did not review or provided any recommendation as the proposal is required reviewing by HRC. HRC has reviewed and approved the proposal design on November 1st, 2023. It's attached. Signage and other exterior attachment, including security camera and decorative metal screen, are not included in this application and will be submitted separately. The proposed design is subject to project development plan review as structures involving exterior alternation which exceed of $250,000 in GTA district per section 910.01.c.1.c1, and it's required planning commissioner review. Based on the information in the application and analysis of the fact of record, the city planning staff recommends approval of interior and exterior renovation to convert vacant building into a bank and financial institute as general at 500 Liberty Avenue based on the application DCP ZDR 2023-07553. I'm returning back to the applicant for presentation.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Laura Trendler, and I am working with Huntington as a permitting consultant on this project. On the call with me is Aaron Hogel and Josh Gonzalez from Vocon. They represent our architectural team. We have Jen Vinci on, who is the project manager from Huntington Bank, and we have Ryan Wotis on, and he's representing the ownership team today. So as you know, Huntington's requesting approval of the proposed redevelopment at 500 Liberty Avenue. This is the same presentation you saw just a couple weeks ago on the 9th. So we'll try to keep it brief today and run through these slides again for you. So as a refresher, the property is zoned GTA, Golden Triangle District, Subdistrict A. And it's located just a block east of Market Square. Or a block west of Market Square, sorry about that. As Miriam mentioned, before today, we've gained approvals from the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, the Historic Review Commission, and the Zoning Board of Adjustment for the changing use. So this slide here shows the existing conditions of the building. And then on the right is just a rendering of the proposed redevelopment. In this next slide here, so on the left, you're viewing the building from the north on Liberty Avenue and Stanwick Street, and the rendering on the right displays the view from Forbes Avenue and Stanwick Street. And the scope of work generally includes repainting and existing the same roof in the same brown color, installation of fabric awnings over 7 of the windows, replacement and reconfiguration of the building's entrances, and we'll show those on the next slide. Installation of landscape planters at the street level and on the 2 rooftop terraces, and then new exterior light fixtures. All right, so this slide here is a reference of what's proposed on the interior. This is the ground level of the building. You can see the entrances. The main one here is on Stanwick Street at the corner, and then 2 additional entrances are located on Liberty Avenue and Forbes. On the interior, there is an ATM vestibule on the north side of the building. There's 4 office spaces, a common area, a conference room, the teller desks, restrooms, and then a stairwell leading up to the 2nd floor. And at this point, nothing is proposed on the second floor. This is just being shown for reference, that Huntington could potentially use this space in the future. So with that being said, I will ask if any of the team members want to speak before we turn it over to the public, but Huntington is excited to get started on this and we look forward to your approval today.
Thanks, Laura. This is Erin. I think you covered everything we were hoping to cover from my end.
Thank you.
Does that conclude comments from the applicant?
Nothing from me. Thank you, Laura. Nothing from me. Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you as well, Madam Chair. Ryan Wotus here on behalf of 500 Liberty Associates. I don't have anything further to add, but happy to address any questions or comments the commission may have for us. Thank you.
Appreciate each of you. At this time, we do open the floor for public testimony. Is there anyone out there that would like to speak regarding this application?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you so very much. At this time, commissioners, if there are any comments or questions or a motion from the floor, now would be the time. Motion?
I move that we approve this proposal.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Dick. Do we have a second? It looks like Commissioner Ruiz.
Yes,
I
second.
Okay, very good. I was wondering, I was going to question there if you had a question. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Blackwell.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Burton Falk. Aye. Commissioner Dick.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Neill has recused. Commissioner Ruiz.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Quintanilla.
Aye.
Thank you so much. And Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. It looks like the motion passes, it carries. So you are free to go. Thank you very much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Continue to stay warm. Hopefully the weather is going in the upward condition.
It looks that way. It looks that way. We're through the rough patch here.
Yeah, I'll take melted snow any day.
All right, take care.
Oh, you also. Okay, so moving on, we actually did have on the agenda item E, which is the director's report, but commissioners, there is some business housekeeping commission business that we should tend to before getting to the director's report. And that is, every 2 years, according to our bylaws for commissioners, we need to go through nominations. Today, I think we need to reconfirm our officers and do the nomination and vote today. We are calling for the nominations for the officers, and those officers would be your commission chair, your vice chair, and secretary, and that would be to serve for the 2024-2025 calendar years. So we'll move forward to do those nominations. Again, those are for the officers. I cannot put up nomination for the chair, so I'm going to turn it over to Vice Chair Rachel O'Neill.
Thank you. And just before we go a little bit further, we are nominating officers for 2-year terms, which is consistent with our bylaws. There are members of this commission whose terms expire before then. We don't want to preclude anybody from participating as an officer, so we'll open up the floor. Certainly being nominated or selected as an officer doesn't guarantee that that person will be reappointed to the commission. They'll just serve as officer until their commission, the earlier of the 2 years or their term on commission expires. If somebody is currently serving as an officer for 1 year and their term on commission expires, we will reappoint. We'll go through this process again and elect someone. As vice chair, is there anybody who would like to make a motion to recommend for chair? Commissioner Dick.
I would like to nominate LaShawn Burton Falk as the chair of the planning commission.
And do we have a second?
I second.
Second, Commissioner Blackwell, and so we will do roll call. And I'm sorry, I don't have everybody's names in alphabetical order, so I will go based on my screen. Commissioner Dick.
Aye.
Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
Commissioner Cantonia.
Aye, sorry.
No worries. Commissioner Blackwell.
Aye.
Commissioner Ruiz.
Aye.
And I think I have to ask you, Commissioner Burton Falk.
Aye.
So moved. Congratulations, Commissioner Chair Burton Falk.
Thank you so very much. So I will take over for the nomination for vice chair. Is there a nomination for vice chair that we'd like to put up here today?
Yes. This is Commissioner Blackwell. I'd like to nominate Commissioner Rachel.
All right. So thank you, Commissioner Blackwell.
I didn't say her last name.
That's okay. Commissioner Blackwell has made a motion for Commissioner Rachel O'Neill to be vice chair of commission. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. I think that was. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Peter and I both raise our hands at the same time.
Well, so then we've got two in there. So we'll take Commissioner Wu on this one for the second, and then I'm going to do roll call. Commissioner Blackwell.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Burton Falk. Aye. Commissioner Dick.
Aye.
I think I need to ask Commissioner O'Neill.
Aye.
Thank you for accepting. Commissioner Ruiz.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Quintanilla.
Aye.
All right. And Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Now we are going to do the nomination. So that passes. It carries. We move on to the nomination of secretary. Do I have a nomination and uh-oh, Commissioner O'Neill?
I was missing a hand there. I'd like to nominate Commissioner Dick.
Excellent. Thank you. And do we have a second?
A second.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Blackwell. So I'm going to do roll call. Commissioner Blackwell.
Aye.
Commissioner Burton Falk. Aye. Commissioner Dick.
I guess aye.
All right. Commissioner O'Neill.
Aye.
Commissioner Ruiz.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Quintanilla.
Aye.
And Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
Excellent. So, all right. Thank you so much, commissioners. Officers have been voted, and we now can move on to further business. The next agenda item on our report agenda today is agenda item E, which is the director's report. Got a little tongue-tied there. And presenting that here today is Mr. Dash.
Actually, not Mr. Dash. I will be sending that over to Ms. Rakes. We did just kind of do a vote for officers. We are trying to align commissioner terms and work more within a set of bylaws. I think we understand that our bylaws at the same time are out of date, and that both bylaws and commission procedures are some things that need some updating. And so I think we want to be able to talk about some thoughts there, be able to present some work to the commission. But I will hand it over to Ms. Rakes.
Thank you. We can go ahead and pull up the presentation. And yeah, thank you for that introduction, Mr. Dash. This is something that, again, we've thought about sort of at the beginning of the year and making sure that we are being as efficient as possible with staff time and applicant time, making sure that what we're asking of applicants is clear and consistent, and making sure that, again, that we're sharing clear and consistent information in a timely manner with the public and anyone else interested in these applications. So what we're going to walk through sort of our current process in case some of the commission members aren't familiar with it, or probably new commission members aren't familiar with it. And then we'll talk through some of the ideas that we had to make them more efficient, really with the idea of getting input from commissioners today. Also, please go ahead and email us if you have any thoughts afterwards. And for any of the commissioners that aren't online today, I will make sure that we're following up with them and making sure that they have their full input as well. So we can go ahead to the next slide. Okay, so our current processes, the agenda comes out the week prior to the meeting, and we ask applicants to provide their presentations that morning. And then we post the presentations and the agendas to the website. So that's briefing, then projects come back to Planning Commission 2 weeks later for hearing and action, regardless of the size of the project or the impact of the project. And as I'm sure some commission members are familiar, meetings are longer than necessary on occasion when applicants include material in their presentations that aren't really relevant to what the Planning Commission review and approval criteria are for that project. There are specific criteria in the zoning code that Planning Commission reviews projects against, and sometimes we see information that isn't specifically related to those criteria. And we ask for correspondence at noon the business day prior to the meeting, just to make sure that we are giving the public enough time to be able to review and comment after the agenda comes out and the presentations are posted. But it also gives staff a little bit of time to organize that correspondence and get it to the commissioners so they can review it before the meeting. So we can go to the next slide. So the first thought we've had is that smaller and less impactful projects won't necessarily require a briefing. So these would be high wall signs, projects that are exterior renovation only, historic nominations, neighborhood gateway signs, single family homes, and then there may be some other projects that are smaller that might not have to come sort of at staff and commission direction. Now, just because projects wouldn't necessarily be coming for a briefing, it doesn't mean that Planning Commission, if you have significant concerns or questions, it would just be continued and it would come back 2 weeks later as a continued hearing and action item. And this is not, then that would functionally be the same amount of time as projects now that come for briefing and come back for hearing and action 2 weeks later. It wouldn't slow those down at all. It would only be a faster process for projects where commission didn't have any concerns. And then if a project came for hearing and action only and there was small concerns with it, the commission could approve the project with conditions, and we would just want to make sure that there was clear direction to staff and the applicant about how to address those specific issues to make sure that we are working with the applicant before we would sign off finally to make sure that those concerns were addressed. We can go to the next slide. We would still plan to send the agenda out and put the presentations up on the website the week before, the Tuesday before the meeting. But we would ask the applicants to provide their material on Friday, the Friday before, with the idea that staff could go through and sort of remove any unnecessary materials, if there were sort of marketing materials or interior drawings that weren't relevant to Planning Commission criteria. We could let the applicant know and sort of slim down those presentations so that it was really only focused on the items that were relevant for Planning Commission criteria. We can go on to the next slide. And then for actual development projects, so most of what the development projects that the commission see now are project development plans, final land development plans. Staff will read the report and then walk through the presentation. So applicants will no longer make these presentations. However, the commission is encouraged to ask questions of both the applicant and staff during that, after that presentation, right? If the idea is it will probably generally be a shorter presentation, but there will be opportunity for robust discussion afterwards. And then for larger development projects, you know, at the request of the applicant, we may also let applicants make that presentation. And then for plan developments and major zoning changes, so preliminary land development plans, these are for SP districts or other plan development districts, zoning map amendments, master development plans. So those are master plans where a project development plan is required, but it's on 3 acres or more. The applicant would still make the presentation in those instances. Okay, and we can go on to the last slide, I think. And I talked a little bit about this at the beginning, but the idea is that we want to hear some feedback and discussion from commissioners today on where, you know, where you think this has landed. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are there things that we could change, make better if you have any questions? And then based on that feedback, Commissioner O'Neill has offered to work on drafting updated bylaws. We will make sure that they are available for public review and comment online. And then sort of depending on the schedule that we are on, those updated bylaws would be up for review and approval on a meeting a month from now, which would be the February 20th agenda. Again, that's not necessarily set in stone, depending on how many comments we get and the time it takes to update the bylaws. And then obviously we want to have enough time for both the commission and for the public to review and comment. So I think that's our last slide. All right, yes. So we can go ahead if we want to go back to we can pull the presentation up if you want to go back to sort of what we've outlined, or we can just sort of open it up to discussion and questions.
I'm fine with opening up for discussion and or questions if commissioners have questions, comments, or concerns at this time.
I just wanted to make a quick statement. So thank you to all of the city planning staff who are trying to help make this process a little bit more open to the public, making it a more collaborative process while also reducing some of the unnecessary work that is required for maybe staff and presenters and the public. I think it'll be a lot easier to move forward and to make some meaningful input into these projects. The bylaws kind of set a really high level outline of how the commission works. They have not been updated, as Kate mentioned, since 1982. So the goal is to, take a look at those. Even after we update those bylaws, there's still going to be some flexibility for, adapting some of these, standard procedures underneath that. So it's not going to be set in stone. Certainly there'll be further discussion after, we make some of these changes. It'll be an ongoing dialogue if we really find that something is not being efficient. I think we all want to hear about that. But any input into the process at this point, we'd love to hear. I think always, my concern, previously having worked at city planning and the law department and then being on commission, we have these briefings that are technically not part of the record, but it's where most of the information comes in. And then, people come back for their hearing, having also represented applicants, everybody's ready to go. They think they get their approval, and we're kind of a little bit past a point where there's a lot of meaningful input and there's a lot of opportunity to really change projects once they get to that point without denying. So this really gives both the applicant and the commission and the community more opportunity to have that, real discussion that's part of the record. And hopefully without, extending the timeline for this. It also really helps for some of those things that, need to come before the commission under the current zoning code. Cut down on some of the times for those where there are things that, usually we don't get a lot of, public comment on or commissioner comments on, thinking about, windows in downtown. That are not necessarily controversial. We don't want to cause people to have to wait an unnecessary amount of time for something that is typically approved. But we still want to give everybody the opportunity to weigh in. So open to any comments here on the record. As Kate said, any comments in email, because I know we're introducing this to you today and it is something that you may need to digest, and certainly happy to discuss it at future meetings as well. And once I do input everything into updated bylaws, I have zero pride of authorship. So you can give me all the comments you want. You can tell me you hated X section and we should change it. And I'm happy to talk about that.
Well, I'll make a comment here. One, first starting with staff and appreciating all your hard work. I'll echo Vice Chair O'Neill. Behind the scenes, you guys are always digging deep to ensure that the process for the public and for the commission is fair and is coming from a place of being able to have the dialogue and to really understand what's going on as it relates to projects. So appreciate all that you all do, because people on the on D-Day don't necessarily see what that all looks like and how that translates, but there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And then I'd also like to say thank you to Vice Chair O'Neill, because there's going to be a lot of work on the other end after we kind of go through this process that she is really volunteering to really put together, and that's going to be a lot as well. And so just want to let you know up front that we really appreciate that and value your time that's going to go into that. And then I'll make a comment generally about how critical I think it is that this is such a season as this that we begin to really button up and hunker down on things like our bylaws and our practices and our process, because it just makes it easier for people to kind of understand what's coming and for us to function as a commission. So glad to see these proposed process changes, recognizing that staff, they're still going to have the same amount of work or a lot of work. But I do think that this is going to be efficient, and it's going to be in the end much better after we get through all of it. Those are my only comments at this time, and I do echo Rachel, Commissioner Vice Chair O'Neill, in saying that you may not necessarily have a lot of questions or input today, but that doesn't mean that today's the only time for those questions and or input. So if there isn't anything today, don't feel like you're missing something or you should have said, or you can always speak out, as we move along. Are there any additional comments or questions at this time?
I just have a question, just a general question. Are the applicants who won't have to present at briefing generally going to be those who won't have to present at hearing and action? I'm just trying to look at the pattern of how how this will work in terms of who will be required to present and who will have the city staff present on their behalf.
Good question. So yeah, the smaller projects are definitely the ones that will have staff present. There will also be some projects that fall, again, the ones that will bypass briefing and go directly to hearing and action tend to be the smaller projects. There will also be larger development projects that staff will present at briefing and hearing and action there will be project development plans and final land development plans that staff will present at briefing and hearing and action. So that's a good question that I'd really have to go back and take a look at the number of projects that we did, in the past year and sort of sort them into two categories. If I had to guess, I'd say they were roughly 50-50 between smaller projects and bigger projects. But yeah, I'd really have to take a look. I'd have to take a deeper dive into that. I don't know if anyone else from staff has sort of a better gut instinct on that. But that would be mine.
Thanks, Kate.
How about any additional questions or comments at this time? And if there are none, that's okay.
I just wanted to add, I think I had it in my notes and I didn't really drill down on this, kind of how I am envisioning briefing operating is a little bit more similar to how some other planning commissions have a working session. It may not have as detailed of a presentation, or it may be focusing on, high level issues that they want to work through with commission. It's not necessarily demonstrating full compliance at that time. It's really an opportunity to, work through with commission those big items and present to the community those big items that they think they need to work through. This is also similar to how this planning commission operated a few administrations ago, which is where we got some of our inspiration, because there was a little bit more dialogue going on at that point. It would be a little bit different. So even if somebody is kind of going in for briefing, they don't necessarily have to be at the stage in their project where they are now to come to briefing. If that makes sense. It really is something about getting the project out there, having those discussions, and then hopefully coming back for hearing. But having it be less of a situation where once somebody's here for hearing, they're anticipating that they're getting approved that day. It makes it less automatic, but we're not trying to extend any sort of process, because we're kind of letting people come to briefing maybe slightly earlier than they had in the past. So any thoughts on that process as well? But I've certainly liked when I've gone to working sessions at other planning commissions, and been able to talk on behalf of applicants about, what we really liked or what we really don't like, because sometimes we do see some really great input, from this commission about design or how things operate. But under the current timeline, if you are a developer, you have 1 week to get your new presentation and new design finalized, submitted, to then come back 2 weeks later. So this gives, a little bit more runway for those substantial changes.
Any additional thoughts on Vice Chair O'Neill's comments? Commissioner Dick?
I'm generally happy with the proposed changes. We'll look them over, in more detail, but I think on first run, I think they're positive.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Dick. And I do feel the same way. When you begin to talk about things, you might have a thought or two in mind, but after you get an opportunity to digest this, you'll have more questions, and over time, we'll work through those. Is that fair and reasonable, commissioners?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Given that, or Kate, are you wrapped up there? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then I think what happens now is we can have a motion to adjourn, and it looks like we've had a great meeting here today.
Right. Agreed. So moved.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Here we go, commissioners. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Good stuff. We'll continue to get away from the snow. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you back in 2 weeks. Thank you for being here.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Chair
Take care.
Burnfall. Thank you,
Bye.
staff.